Now, in the wake of a devastating fire in Kuwait claiming the lives of at least 41 Indians, Minister of State Kirti Vardhan Singh is travelling to Kuwait on Thursday. Expressing deep concern, he stated that efforts are underway to bring the deceased back to India once identified. Take a listen.
See, we had a meeting last night with the Honorable Prime Minister, and that's the last update we have about this very sad tragedy. And the rest of the situation will be cleared the moment we reach there. See, the situation is that the victims are mostly burn victims, and some of the bodies have been charred beyond recognition. So DNA test is underway to identify the victims, and Air Force plane is on the ready, and as soon as the bodies are identified, their kin will be informed, and our Air Force plane will bring the bodies back. The latest figures that we had last night, the casualty figures are around 48, 49, out of which 42 or 43 are believed to be our countrymen Indians.
With updated casualty figures ranging from 48 to 49, including 42 to 43 Indians, the situation, viewers, remains grim. The fire erupted in a worker housing building in Mangaf, southern Kuwait on Wednesday, resulting in the tragic loss of lives, including 11 from Kerala. The fire started in a kitchen in the 6-story building, which reportedly had nearly 160 people living in it. They are workers of the same company. Eyewitnesses said some people jumped from the 5th floor of the building to escape the fire and died. Some also died in their sleep from smoke inhalation. Prime Minister Modi there extended condolences to the families of the deceased in the fire tragedy in Kuwait, expressing wishes for the speedy recovery of the injured. He announced ex gratia or relief of 2 lakh rupees to the families of the deceased Indian nationals from the Prime Minister Relief Fund. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar also said the Indian ambassador had gone to the site of the incident. He said, deeply shocked by the news of the fire incident in Kuwait City, there are reportedly over 40 deaths and over 50 have been hospitalized. Our ambassador has gone to the camp. We are awaiting further information. The Indian Embassy in Kuwait has issued a helpline number and assured it will give all possible assistance. Indians, in fact, constitute 21%, that's 1 million of the total population of Kuwait, and 30% of its workforce, which is approximately 9 lakh people. A senior police said the building in which the fire occurred was used to house workers, and there were many workers there. Dozens were rescued, but unfortunately there were many deaths as a result of inhaling smoke from the fire. We always alert and warn against cramming too many workers into housing accommodation, he said, without providing details on the workers' type of employment or place of origin. The fire was contained and authorities were investigating its cause. Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Fahad Al Yusuf Al Sabah visited the site and ordered the arrest of the building's owner. He said, and I quote, "Unfortunately, the greed of real estate owners is what leads to these matters." Listen in.
Unfortunately, the greed of the property owners is what leads to these matters. I will call the Director of Municipalities and we will talk to all property owners. Any property violation will be removed early morning. Either the property owner removes it himself or I will give instructions to the municipality to remove them. This is the decision that should have been imposed a long time ago and be implemented in the municipality. But unfortunately, there was neglect from the part of the real estate dealers. They violate, and this is the result of the violations. As we speak, there are 41 people killed, and the reason is the real estate dealers, unfortunately.
Kuwait's health ministry said the injured had been admitted to several hospitals. The majority were sent to Al Adan, but some were also sent to Farvaya Hospital, Al Amiri and Mubarak Hospital. This is in fact the latest that we're getting for all our viewers from Kuwait, where the Prime Minister there has also pinned the blame on builders' greed. Over 40 Indians, remember, have been killed in this tragic fire that took place in Kuwait.
Well, it appears that what I saw on television, that it was sort of a gas leak, and it happened after 3 o'clock, around 3 o'clock in the morning. So I do not know why we got the news after so many hours. But anyway, what is important to recognize is that our embassy is doing its utmost, and the Kuwaiti authorities are also doing what they should be doing. And let us hope that, the situation, of course, has been brought under control, but obviously the Kuwaiti authorities have to make sure that such a terrible thing doesn't occur, which means the buildings have to be constructed and maintained properly, and so the whole thing has to be gone into, which they are doing. But as I said earlier, Government of India is doing its utmost to, bring back, the bodies of those who have unfortunately died, and give assistance to the injured. I believe our MoS has already been, it may be on its way. Though I should add that Kuwait Embassy has a sizable section. It's a big embassy to look after our people. So I'm sure the embassy will be able to do whatever is necessary. The government has to take the necessary action with utmost speed. But at the same time, whether you can move out, say 5,000 people just like that, that is a different question. So I'm sure that Kuwait administration will do what is appropriate. So first figure out the problem and then take action. Yes, unfortunately, that is correct. I do not think that Indian workers in that part of the world, including Kuwait, are sort of treated in the correct way. After all, they are also entitled to safe accommodation, reasonable working hours, and a reasonable wage. That is not happening. So, Government of India, and let us hope the Modi 3.0 government will take the appropriate action as early as possible. The embassy has enough resources in terms of manpower to do that, and it will be done. But I still am a little sort of intrigued. If it happened at 3 in the morning, around 3 in the morning in Kuwait, and you can calculate the time difference, how come that we in India come to know of this only now? Many are in the ICU, and you know what happens in the ICU. I mean, people who are taken to the ICU, well, if we are lucky, they get well. Otherwise, they will start leaving us. So, obviously, the initial report was a tentative report, but as time goes, unfortunately, the death toll mounted. Well, I mean, the last I saw from an Indian journalist, actually, he's an editor in Kuwait, is that it was 51 and that it might go up because it depends how many are in the ICU. And I did not see a correct number for the number of persons in the ICU. Government has acted with promptly and with a sense of urgency. No, I take it that the Kuwaiti government will do what is necessary. But as I said earlier, declaring X number of buildings unsafe and asking all the people there to get out, well, you can do that provided you give them alternate accommodation by way of tents or otherwise. But, it has to be done in a manner which causes minimum inconvenience and suffering to the people concerned. Well, I'm told, again, going by the news channels, that it is owned by someone from Kerala. Of course, the person who owns a building. Well, no, the person who built the building, is the main culprit. I mean, you may buy some another person, building from somebody. Now, if that person had not built it correctly, well, then you can't say it is a fault of the buyer.